In order to get the most out of your micro-learning experience, you need to set a goal, have an end goal, and have something at risk in the process. When asked about this profession, Derek Sever describes himself as musician-producer, circus performer, businessman. His first company was sold for $22 million dollars, and he gave all of the money away. But his story about how he learned 2 years' worth of Berklee College of Music education in 8 hours and graduated in 2 years rather than 4 is the reason we're talking about him, because he didn't follow the traditional educational model and graduated in 2 years instead of 4. Hey, let's talk the foundation of wealth building strategies. There is a common framework for all schools, known as the Prussian system, which was developed approximately 200 years ago as a way of training young children to become disciplined soldiers. The defeat of the Prussian army in a conflict with France in 800s revealed a moral lesson for the nation. All children in Prussia had to attend a mandatory school in which they learned to read or write and sing about God in order to create an obedient and patriotic population. This worked well for Prussia, known as Germany, which became a powerful military and economic powerhouse as a result of this success, the United Kingdom, and the United States. While not all of the educational system's intentions were questioned, the results of this system were clear. A young population that was prepared to do what they were told to do, making them ideal candidates for the Industrial Revolution, which required them to sit still and perform repetitive tasks for long periods of time. In 1940, the US adopted the Prussian system, and in 1982, literally 10 people decided what and where, and every kid in America should learn, and nothing has changed since Arne Duncan, the 9th US Secretary of Education, argued that the factory model of education is the wrong model for the 20th century. Derek Sever had 82 weeks to go until college started when he saw an ad in the newspaper for a music teacher offering lessons. He contacted him, and it turned out he was an ex-Berklee professor. What taught him what he needed to know in only 3 intensive lessons. A series of short, focused learning sessions led by Derek allowed him to complete college 2 times quicker than he would have otherwise, which leads us to the subject of micro-learning for today. Current educational practices are for chumps, according to Derek's mentor. Since everyone learns differently, the important takeaway from this is that education must be highly tailored in order for it to be efficient, which is the exact reverse of how it now operates. To put it another way, you have no say in what is taught to you, and you have no control over the time frame. Khan advocated for a digital-only approach, where you receive the lesson at your convenience via a personal computer or other mobile device, rather than the traditional classroom model where you go to class, sit in silence for the duration of your lesson, and then return to class or final exam. Unfortunately, there isn't a single agreed-upon definition. Micro-learning consists of short, focused lessons that are delivered whenever and wherever you want. It is backed by research that shows that people forget about 80% of what they learn in a month. This phenomenon is called the forgetting curve, and it helps explain why cramming a lot of information into one sitting doesn't do much for you. Multitasking is a fallacy, since your brain can do many tasks at once without taking a significant drop in your concentration. If you're a writer, you'll be able to write more interesting articles, and if you're a visual storyteller, you'll be able to tell better visual tales. Regardless of your profession, there is at least one skill that you can master that will have a high and immediate influence on you. If you're a marketer, you may be interested in developing more effective commercials. It's time to reassess where you are in life and where you want to go if you can't find that one talent that has instant effect. The next level is curated knowledge, which serves two goals. Getting meaningful information has become more difficult even for books that were formerly considered classics, such as Benjamin Graham's well-praised work, The Intelligent Investor, since there is just too much information out there. Although it's widely regarded as a Bible of value investing, the book was published in 1949, which means that anyone trying to apply the principles outlined in it today would get very different results. There are still no gold nuggets in that book, but you can't use that book as your sole source of information. Instead, find your own version of Derek's music teacher and look for P. In order to have a better grasp on how much time and effort you'll need to put into each piece of work, you should start with the 20% of animation abilities you'll utilize for 80% of your projects. Using a pro tip on curated information, we recently discovered newsletters to be a fantastic source. We can incorporate a strong opening and an enticing hook in our narrative. We get weekly updates on the markets we care about from a variety of newsletters, many of which charge a yearly fee and are written by experts in their respective fields. Podcasts are another great way to get curated knowledge, since many of us at Locks own dogs and have developed the habit of listening to podcasts while we take our dogs for a walk. 1% of people's weekly time is set aside for personal development, which equates to about 4 minutes a day. Is that enough time? Well, let's look at our act as an example. We use micro-learning in short 5 to 15 minutes daily pieces of content. Our daily lock sessions are designed to give you a lot of value, insight, and time in a condensed period, and over time, all of their lessons add up to quite a bit of time. Stakes and goals. For the sake of illustration, let's use the website stake.com, which isn't affiliated with us in any way. We just find the concept intriguing and it works well for our example. The premise of the website is simple. You stake money on a goal you want to accomplish. If you succeeded, you get the stake money back. If you fail, the stake money is donated to a charity that you care deeply about. Look, we love all animals, but they're like pseudo-extremists by this point. The reason why this works is because us, humans, we experience losses asymmetrically more severely than equal gains. For example, you're more angry if someone robs you $1,000 than if someone gives you $1,000. This is called loss aversion. As a bonus, we'll give you a whiteboard and a marker so you can keep track of your progress every day. You'll thank us in the long run for your persistence.